Hello, this is Kelly Kleiman, and you are listening to the DealershipNews.com podcast, where we cover the who's happening in the automotive industry. Today, we're visiting with Travis Wise at Dealers Link. He has the game-changing technology to put you at the top of the national dealership standings in your region or city, and he's here to explain how the magic works. I'm going to approach this interview from a different angle and let our guest explain in detail at his own pace why you should be at one with Dealers Link. Travis Wise, welcome to Dealership News.
Hey, Kelly, thank you. I really appreciate it. Good to be here.
Hey, tell us how you got into the automotive industry to begin with. Was it something you've had a lifelong interest, or did you just happen to trip over a curb and there you were?
Kind of tripped over the curb. I was trying to get a title for a used car I had bought from a small dealership, and the guy enticed me, to come down and try selling cars on a Saturday. And before 10 o'clock in the morning, I had my first car out and made a $450 commission, and I have been hooked ever since. And that was back when I was just turned 20. So I just got into it and just grew from the ground up and just been doing it ever since.
Very, very, very perceptive of that guy to realize that you had the gift of gab. It's unbelievable that before 10 a.m. you actually had your first sale. Impressive. So
it was fast. It was fast.
It's like beginner's luck that stuck.
Yeah, it was totally. Yeah, it was fun.
Provide us some of the backstory behind Dealers Link. I think folks will find it quite interesting, actually.
Well, it was interesting. My partner, he grew up in a dealership, and he's got a technology background, and we've always liked technology. And I had a publishing company at the time, and I was doing auto magazines and real estate magazines. Those rags that you hand out at the grocery store and gas stations and whatnot for free. Mm-hmm. And he was doing a website for me, and he showed me this idea. He seen that, we were 5 hours from an auction, and he's like, look, and I'd already been in the car business at this point as well, and had a used car lot and of my own. And he was pointing out the fact, that there was shipping on a vehicle both ways and fees, and typically the car would end up back in the same region, and there was $1,000 to $1,500 transpired right there, and you do a truckload, and that's times 10. That's $10,000 to $15,000 per truckload that other vendors are making on the transactions of the vehicles that isn't pushed back to the dealer and isn't pushed back to the customer. So at that point, everything being a peer-to-peer platform with the internet, and where the internet can take something, Ameritrade, Priceline, any of those markets that you look at, it pushes the brick and mortar to the side and puts the money back in the consumer's pocket and gives you speed and accuracy. He's seen an opening there, and when he showed it to me, it was a little early in the market. Dealers didn't even really have websites. This was 16, 17 years ago. It's hard to believe that that's all the longer it was before the internet really started cranking. Mm-hmm. And then we've seen an opportunity there to really help the dealers, help the community, and get a little slice of the pie. So we've started a wholesale market that's kind of like Netflix. You pay a subscription and do all the car deals you want.
Everybody has an elevator pitch, but for the GM or president of a big dealer group who doesn't work with you, what would a 30-second elevator pitch sound like?
A 30-second elevator pitch, it's same thing. The whole world's going to a peer-to-peer market. You look at eBay, Napster, Uber. The largest companies out there providing transportation don't even own a car these days, and that's literally where we're at. We're the largest provider of dealer direct wholesale in the U.S. So if you'd like to start putting all that money back on your bottom line, have the used car factory at your access, be able to see the most profitable vehicles out there in your market and surrounding areas for wholesale, and weigh and measure them against bank calls you've already got sitting at the desk. We're your huckleberry when it comes to the Dealers Link side of wholesale market and buying and selling cars. We can really push your bottom line and increase your profitability and move more cars through your dealership faster.
What distinguishes you from the competition? And quite frankly, is there any real competition?
That's a great question, Kelly. The thing that distinguishes us from the competition is we're not a transaction based company, and our tools are very effective and very simple. We're car guys through and through. Everybody in our company that we have on our team are car guys. We won't bring someone into the company that doesn't have dealership experience. So the thing that really is the game changer is we don't charge the fees. We don't have the transportation problems. We don't have the brick and mortar problems, and we don't have the arbitration problems because the dealer represents the car. His name's on it. His phone number's on it. And no one else out there has really figured that out and figured out the secret sauce of what drives this and why we do so many transactions without having problems.
So sort of a part B to that would be that when you walk into a dealership, how do you explain to them how Dealers Link is a game changer?
The fastest way to really get through and explain it's a game changer is you go from having, say the 80 to 200 used cars that the average dealer has out there on the lot to having 50,000 used cars for sale. All your repeat and referral buyers and that lead gen that you pay anywhere from $300 to $1,000 to get those customers in the front door, we give the tools to the dealer to actually slow the customers down and do more car deals and have more options. This day and age, it's not really about who has the inventory, especially if you're our client. It's who has the customers and who has those repeat buyers. That's a great question. Thank you.
Hopefully this one is as good. So you're obviously you approach a dealership. There's got to be a checklist that you check out and assess their needs. What does that checklist look like?
Well, we're going to find out whether they're heavy in inventory, whether they're light in inventory, how long they've had their inventory, if it's aging on them. Typically, we go through and really assess what the best fit for the dealer is to start churning that bottom line. There's a cost to ownership every day for every single car that sits on the lot, and that cost to ownership compounds very quickly when you take it across 100 cars that are an average of $25,000 or $30,000 a piece. And once we can figure out that cost to ownership and figure out the right mix of cars in that region, that's where we're really going to start moving the needle for them, because now you have the right car, the right car in the right market, priced right for the customer. So you have the opportunity for gross profit on the vehicle. You have a fast moving car at your dealership. You're not gambling your assets on a slow moving car. If there was two tables and they were both roulette tables and one paid 50 to 1 and the other one paid 20 to 1, I would guess that, the 50 to 1 table would probably get a lot less action. And that's really where we push the dealer, is to see what assets turn better for them so they can drive that bottom line and move cars quickly with the customers and make a good profit because they have the right inventory that's desirable.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach. Now you've sort of touched on it in a previous comment, but let's talk about the dealer direct marketplace and how you guys eliminate the middleman with your, I'll call it a huge collective repository of used vehicles from a pool of tens of thousands of well-maintained used cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's so by eliminating the middleman, there's more margin obviously for the dealer. And let me just get my hands around this for a second. So I am a dealer. I am part of your network. What if there's a dealer? Is it geocentric? In other words, you have dealerships within your network, and if there's somebody 2 or 3 miles away, they don't have the same access to the same inventory. Or is there any exclusivity? How does that work? Is that part of what your system entails?
Oh yeah, this is you're really cracking open the can of worms here. I love this. Thank you. So what we're finding and what's really been benefiting the dealer is You go into a market, and I'm going to use a Volkswagen Jetta diesel as an example here because it's the simplest car for everybody to relate to. That car in Arizona, Southern California, super economy, runs great, very efficient vehicle. It's worth a lot of money. You go to North Dakota, you go to Michigan, you go to those northern states where it's very cold. That car struggles. It's hard to start in the wintertime. You have to plug it in. It's a small diesel. It throws fits.
True.
It's not worth a lot of money up there. So as that car sells for back a wholesale quite a ways up in those northern states, in the southern states, it brings all the money and then some. So, you don't want to stay in the same market and fight over the same vehicles. I preach this all the time, Kelly. These guys are fighting over the same car and paying the moon for that big car because it's hot in their market. Well, these markets, further away, the car is selling for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 less. And I mean, you can ship a car coast to coast pretty much these days for $1,500. So if you can go into another market where the car's not desirable, buy that car at a discounted rate, and then know it's a low mile, clean, late model car that is represented by someone that has their name on it and their franchise, and they're backing that car up, and then ship that car into a market where it brings the moon. That's when you really start hitting it out of the park. That's when you really start moving the needle. Cars aren't the same as they were 15, 20 years ago. They're made of better quality coatings, better quality steel, better quality manufacturing, and it's not a problem to move those cars across the nation at this point, whereas back in the day they had other issues of how solid that car is, whereas if it's a late model car, you can hit a home run with it.
Plus, you can always get shipping bidded out, and shipping isn't nearly as expensive as it used to be either. And with gas prices going down, it's even more affordable. It's ingenious. I love it.
Yeah, and we even have guys go and we have them fly one way and then just drive the car straight back. You take Grandpa or the lot guy or whoever you have as your trusted commuter that moves your cars around. Yeah. You put them on a plane. You get on Priceline, get the cheapest ticket, fly them up there. They get in the car, drive it right back, and deliver it to the customer.
Funny story. I have twins, and their best friend's grandfather does that. His son he's the general manager of a dealership, and they sell Porsches and luxury cars all over the place. And he now gets paid to drive to Arizona or to fly to Arizona, drive cars back. Delivery guy. He's a delivery guy.
Yeah,
it's the perfect perfect solution.
It's a perfect fit. Yeah, you slap a sandwich in their hand, give them some GPS coordinates for their smartphone, and let it rip. It's absolutely
fantastic. Kelly. So let's talk about the dealer direct marketplace and how you guys eliminate the middleman with your. We already talked about that. Well, I'll tell you what. That is. See, you complimented me early on. I got through the same freaking question, and this is what happened. Never compliment me before I do a show here. Let's talk about the suite of management software. Lord have mercy.
It's good.
Yeah, we'll put that as an out. Actually, I can't eliminate that if I want, but I'm going to keep it in. Okay, I'm a car dealer. How does your suite of management software make my life easier and spare no details?
Okay, this is where we really, really move the needle. So we took a accumulation of all the best pieces of the inventory management software that we see out there, because each one of these components out there has something that is really innovative and needle moving. And once you reverse engineer something, you see angles that no one else has seen. So we have a place in there where we can predict future book drops, and we're seeing books go down as much as $7,000 in a month and go up as much as $5,000 in a month. That is crucial information to go back into F&I and get percentage of book and people upside down. Not only that, we have a way to track the race to the bottom. The car business right now, everybody's using this market pricing. Everybody's going in there and they want to be price number one. When you're taking that car in on trade, you need to know how aggressively people are dropping the price on these vehicles when you take that car in on trade or purchase it from us, from a wholesaler, wherever you're acquiring your inventory. You need that transparency. If all your neighbors are dropping the price on this car by $1,000 a week, very quickly you can be in a negative situation on a vehicle, and that information is invaluable. You need to know how fast these cars are moving in your market. Everybody's like, did I make great profit on these cars? Is more importantly to know, if I buy this car in this market, is it just going to sit here? Is it a bad investment? Does everybody that even owns one of these things, are they stuck holding them for 180 days and no one in this market buys these cars? So we bring a very unique piece to this. So we not only bring you that transparency, but a true inventory management tool will bring you an entrance and an exit strategy. So we have an entrance strategy. We can show you where to get this car for the right price and bring it into your market. If you can't move the car, whatever happens, trade-ins, you don't get to choose what you get on trade.
Right.
We're going to make sure that you get in that car right. And if it's not right for your market, we're going to show you the market to place that car so you can make a wholesale profit. I say this all the time. Kelly, if you and I went to Las Vegas and we had $10,000 a piece in our pocket, and we went to the shows and we had lavish dinners and we played the games, and we came back and we had $10,000 a piece in our pockets, we'd be pretty big winners, wouldn't we?
How many dealers are actually savvy enough to be able to follow that? I don't want to, impugn anybody's reputation, certainly in the GM collective out there, but you really have to stay on top of it. And so this software helps you do that. It's pretty inviting.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a great compliment. The dealers today, the age-old give it the 30-foot appraisal and just look in a paper book are done. We see now that you can have a book value in NADA, for instance. The book will say, the car retails for $40,000. You'll go online and you'll see everybody's retailing them for $35,000, which is actually a wholesale number. So if you were to just go by that book and put $35,000 wholesale in that car, you essentially paid retail as the consumer. Vice versa, some of these vehicles are bringing over book value. They're very popular in a market where the book value will say it's a $35,000 car retail and they're selling for $38,000. So if someone comes in the lot and tries to trade it into you and you offer them $30,000, you're not going to get that trade.
Yeah.
Because other dealers out there are more competitive than you and paying more money for that car. So the essence of it is not to really just know the book values anymore. You got to know the market on that car, and you got to know the market regionally, or you'll get stuck. The old joke in the car business is a good used car manager will cost you $150,000 to $250,000 a year. A bad one will cost you $750,000 to $1 million.
Jeez. So what does Dealers Link have in the pipeline for 2019?
For 2019, we've really taken it to the next level. So we've started Motor Cloud. That's the largest vehicle search engine for retail customers in the country right now. We have over 5.5 million vehicles for sale on there, all the vehicles that we can get any data on. The other thing that we've brought to the table very quickly, we're nimble, we're owned, we're employee owned, we're not owned by angel investors, so we can move very nimbly, if that's a word. OEM build data. So we've got the OEMs coming together and giving us the VIN number build data on cars, so I can punch a VIN in and tell you if that car has night vision, tell you if that car has an active handling package that you can't see or know. And some of those packages are $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. On BMWs especially, we've seen package differences of 15,000 when they were built new. So that's a huge factor in its resale. And when you're advertising the car, these people want this certain paint color, pearl aesthetics or whatever these colors are. And if that's not in your advertised information, you're in trouble. Also, we've figured out how to run our booking tool on any website you want out there. Once you're in our browser, once you've set up with us, we'll populate any VIN number and bring it into our appraisal tool. And then there's some more stuff that are black ops projects that I really don't want to let the cat out of the bag on for the competition, but I've got a team of master innovators over here, and they're car guys, and we're finding angles that we never even knew were possible or tangible. So 2019, we're pretty excited, Kelly. It's going to be big.
Where are you going to be in 5 years?
Where am I going to be in 5 years? Well, I love what I do, and I see myself in 5 years expanding this market and bringing more dealers in and saving dealers money every single day. Just changing the car business more and more as we go. We've changed it already. It's happened. Other companies and other businesses are transitioning after us. We have no vision of selling this. This is our baby. We know we're making a difference. We know we're improving the car business for every single citizen in the U.S. 7 out of 10 businesses in the U.S. are affected by the car industry directly. And right now we're moving that money back into the car industry, and we're taking it out of the hands of the third-party vendors and wholesalers and auction houses, and we're putting that money back in the customer's hands, back in the dealer's hands. So in 5 years, I just see this thing, compounding tenfold is where I see myself in 5 years.
Hey, and I wish you the best. Here's the big question, Chief. Who wins the Super Bowl?
Oh, well, overnight, it was simple. All of us turned into Rams fans.
It has nothing to do with being sick of seeing Tom Brady at the helm, huh?
Oh, I was rotten. A couple of years ago at NADA, I announced I had Tom Brady footballs, autographed footballs for handouts. So a bunch of the Patriots fans come to the booth, and I was just faking a little signature on there and putting 10 PSI, 9 PSI on the little footballs, and they're like, "You're just evil."
Too funny. I love it. Well, folks, that was...
We had fun with it, though.
I want to talk to you again. There's some subjects that you brought up that I'm very interested in. Motor Cloud, for one. And then, of course, the proverbial race to the bottom, which I'm going to discuss with you on Monday. I'll probably give you a quick call or an email. I want to get a little bit more information on that and maybe put that in the old dealership news. But, folks, that was Travis Wise, Dealers Link. He has the game-changing technology to put you at the top. Thanks again. Appreciate it, Travis. We'll be in touch soon. And that'll wrap it up for today. Kelly Kleinman, dealershipnews.com. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Thank you, Kelly.
Cool. All right, that is it. That was solid, man.